Hey guys, it's Ted with OAXRAY, and today we're going to be talking about something new, international arbitrage. And this video is going to go off script a little bit, and we're just going to talk about one product that I just happened to see last night. I haven't really done too much research, so I'm going to be going back and forth a little bit. But hopefully you can get ahead of the curve because OAXRAY is going to Europe, and we're going to start comparing prices to the UK, France, Spain, and Germany over the next few months. So it is imperative that you get your accounts active and you start learning these rules, how to find a prep center there, and just how to make money internationally. Because a lot of people aren't going to take the extra steps, do the extra work, get your VAT tax in order, and do these things. So it's up to you to be the person who goes in there, makes that money using our program. So here we are on, this is just a product. I just happened to find it last night. I haven't really done too much research on it, but it's a season 4 Shopkins 12 pack. We can see that in the Toys R Us Canada, this is toysrus.ca, it's $12.99. Whenever I scroll over to the US version, I see it's $14.99. And whenever I scroll over to the, this is the UK version, it is $9.99. Now, you might want to look at which currency is the strongest besides just comparing the actual price, because I know that this $9.99 in euro, or sorry, this is British pounds. You see the little L sign. I already know that $9.99 in British pounds is actually more expensive than $12.99 in Canadian dollars. I've already done the calculation, and I know that to be true. So what we're going to do is we're going to base everything off of this lowest price here at $12.99. Now, whenever we're doing this and you're doing this for your business, you might want to look for something that doesn't have a quantity limit. But here I'm just going to look at this item anyways and just kind of see how you can make money on different marketplaces, or if you can make money on different marketplaces, and just kind of show you the inefficiencies in the market so that you can figure out how you're going to get this item to Amazon.com, Amazon UK, France, Italy, and how you can do these things and make money where people are missing. Because if you saw this item for here, let's see where it is. If you see this item here in the United States, it's selling for $14.99. And in the, let's see if I can find it, in the US market, it's selling for $19.99. There's no profit on this item. It has a really great sales rank, but there's no profit. By the time you buy it, you've already used up all your profits already gone if you're using the standard ways to buy this item. So I'm going to get rid of the UK and the US pages since I already know those items are too expensive. And first we're going to do a quick comparison to the United States version and just see what the price differences are. So this is just a basic pound to dollar calculator. And you're going to get a lot of use out of this. And I have over the last few weeks just doing the research for this and trying to figure things out. So an item that cost $12.99 in Canadian dollars cost $9.78 in the US market. So what that means is we saw the item on Toys R Us Toys R Us Canada for $12.99. We saw it on Toys R Us United States for $14.99. If we had a choice, we could buy it on toysrus.ca, send it to a prep center, see how much the prep center costs versus, using one in the United States. And there are some that will bring your shipments across. You pay the duties, and once you figure out the cost to bring something across, paying the taxes and things like that, then you can actually make a decision. Does it make sense to buy this item in Canadian dollars on Toys R Us Canada, send it across, pay the whatever the duties are, and send it to a US fulfillment center? Because right now you have about a 50%, $4.22 to work with here. Or sorry, $5.22. Because in the US market, this item is $14.99 in US dollars. But here, if you can get it any cheaper than $14.99, you're actually saving money by buying it in toysrus.ca. So it doesn't look like this is going to be very profitable in the United States by the time you ship it to us. So I'm just going to go to the Amazon page and I'm going to close that one out. But we're going to evaluate the same exact thing in a few other countries and just kind of go over some extra ways that you can figure out if items are profitable. So here's the item on amazon.co.uk. And we see that it's the same thing, has 12 pieces, looks like it's all in English, same way. Everything looks pretty much the same. And we see that the buy box price is $13.97. Now, one thing you have to be very aware of, and that is each country has different number of people, and each country has different sales rank thresholds. This item right here is ranked 284. So it's a really low rank, and I would feel comfortable with sending a few of these in, see how they do. But we're buying it in Canada, and we're sending it over to the UK. So let's first do the conversion properly. So that right there, what we saw was in British pounds. So if we spend $12.99 in Canadian dollars, and we switch it over to Canadian pounds, British pounds, we're looking at $6.85 is our buy cost. Now we're gonna have to ship it, so we're gonna have to factor that in, but this is a really lightweight item, and even if we put probably 50 or 100 of them in a good sized box, it's probably going to cost about $1 per piece depending on your service you're using. DHL is what I looked up earlier. So I'm going to go over to the UK for the FBA revenue calculator. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to grab my ASIN. So now that I've got my ASIN, I'm going to click search, and I see the item right here. My Amazon sell price is $13.97, and I'm going to go put in about $1 for inbound delivery. Now, I would use a prep center for something like this. I live in the United States, but if you're shipping this from the US, then you could get shipping rates. But this is a super light item. It's a few ounces, and it's small in dimension. So you're going to be able to fit a lot of these in a box. So these are the kind of items that I look for whenever I'm doing. I generally send to Canada. I look for really lightweight items that are small that I can just throw a bunch in a box, ship it to Canada, and whenever it sells, it sells. So here under my prep service field, what I like to do is put in the buy cost, which here we have buy cost of $6.85. Now, so far, personally, I have not been able to locate a UK site that's equivalent to Raise. So right now, I'm not going to show you using like Raise UK, but as I dive deeper into this, I'm going to be able to find those sites, and then we'll be able to get this buy cost down. Or actually, we're buying this in Canada, so I got to find a raise.ca. But once you start getting these lists together of all the resources in the different countries, it's going to become much quicker, much smoother. Once you have your prep centers in place, you'll be good to go with each of these deals, and it's going to be a little faster for you. So let's just do this calculation just to see if it's profitable. I really don't know yet, so I'm just going to click it. Looks like this item, if you're paying about $1 in inbound fees, which seems reasonable with DHL shipping, looks like we're going to make about $2.35 if we sold this at the buy box price. It's a really fast moving item. DHL ships in 2 days, at least from the United States. From Canada, I can't imagine it would be much longer. So that is our evaluation for Amazon.uk for the same exact item. So looks like you're going to make a couple bucks here. It's about 30% margin. If it's not for you, let's move on to a different venue and see what happens. So one thing that I did not know is whenever you sell on, let's see what this one is. Okay, there's Amazon.es, which is Amazon Spain. One thing I did not know is whenever you send an item to Amazon FBA in the UK, you get access to all the other countries, but the websites are different. So there's a website for Amazon Spain. There's a website for Amazon UK. And each individual marketplace. So as we scroll down here, we see that on this item, the ASIN just happens to be the same. I don't know if it's always going to be the same, but it just happens to be the same on this item, and I guess I'd have to check a whole bunch to see if they're always going to be the same. And this classification right here, I believe that is a sales rank. Looks like it's 970. I'm going to have to get some Google Translate to translate the site for me, but I'm pretty sure that is the sales rank right there. So here we are. We see that the item is 1278. Now, one thing, whenever you see this, you have to add this to cart or click right here to see what the final price is. So it looks like this item that's in the buy box has no FBA competition, which is actually a really good thing. So here we are at 1278 euros, and here we have 1380 euros. So we're at about $26, probably $26.50. So we're going to go back to our calculator. We're going to change this into euros. Now you're going to have to look at your bank and see what they will what currency transaction fees or things like that there will be. So here, whenever we convert this to euros, 12.99 Canadian dollars is equal to 8.78 euros. So as we go over to the calculator here, I'm going to change this from UK to Spain. I'm going to input my my ASIN. Then I go here, and this is the sell price. Like I said, it was $26.50. Now, with there being no prime, you might actually be able to get even a higher price there. I'm going to put in $1.50. It might be a little bit more expensive to ship it to Spain than it is to UK, so I want to make sure I cover my bases. And I'm going to put in my buy cost over here. We had $8.78. Now, you're going to have to look into the VAT tax. There are several companies that will file the VAT tax quarterly for you, and they will pay like a setup. You'll need to pay like a setup fee to get everything set up. Oh, so I forgot about the whole comma deal. So, they use a comma instead of a decimal point. So 26.50 would be here. This $1.50 would be 1.50, and this $8, let's see, it would be 8.78. So if you get like really crazy numbers, you're probably just putting a decimal point instead of a comma. So now everything looks awesome. We're going to buy this item in Canada, and we're going to ship it to Spain, or ship it to Amazon FBA UK, and then we're going to enable the selling of this item in Spain. So you have a dashboard on Amazon.com whenever you're in the UK, and that dashboard allows you to switch between the different marketplaces, and you can list the same item in the UK, you can list it in Spain, you can list it in Germany, you can list it in all the different markets whenever you have an Amazon UK FBA account, and they will ship it out for you, and they will do all the and they will do all that stuff for you. So here we are. We see that we just paid $8.78 euros for this item. It's selling for 26.50 euros. The rank is 970, which everyone needs to research the rank, research the population before you start selling in these marketplaces. But it looks like we're going to more than double our money, even when we're including inbound shipping costs, because we're going to pay about $1.50 to ship it in. We're going to buy it for $8.78, and we are going to make $10.23. So as we can see, an item that was virtually worthless on the UK market, now you're more than doubling your money by simply buying it and shipping it to the different marketplace. Now we're going to go over the final one I have here, which is, let's see, this is France. Amazon.fr. Great. So I'm going to change this, go back up here, change this over to the France marketplace, click OK. I think that will remain the same, but let's see. Okay, great. Same item. Here we go. Instead of selling for 26, now it's selling for 23. Our costs to ship it in are going to be about the same. Still, I would probably going to use DHL. UPS might be in the market by now, because whenever I looked at it in the past, it was only DHL. Now, since we are going to convert this the same way, currency-wise, we're still using the euro, and we're getting paid out in the euro and everything, the numbers remain the same except for the selling price. So here I can do calculate. In this marketplace, we're going to just about, not quite double our money. It looks like we're about 80% return on investment. So here we go. We're going to sell it for $23.09. We're going to pay about $1.50 in fees to ship it over, and we're going to spend about $7.78 in euros to get it there, or to buy the item. And we're going to make about 80% ROI. So now we've gone through 4 different countries and how 4 different countries handle this. Now I can go to Germany also, since we have that available. So let me do that. So here we are on Amazon Germany, Amazon.de, and we can see that the item on this side is selling for $22.99. So if I go back here, I can change this to Germany, but I think it's going to be exactly the same. So I'm just going to change this to 22. Oh, sorry. It's hard to remember not to put the comma instead of the period. So here we go. We can see in Germany, we're also going to make about the same, $6.86. Now remember, this is in euros, so whenever we translate it back, if you're in the US and you're doing this, remember that whenever you translate it back to US dollars, let's see how many US dollars you're going to make on this item. 8.78. Oh. Ooh. I've been doing this, and things get confusing whenever you start translating things back and forth and how much money you're going to make. So 686 euros equals how many US dollars? We're going to scroll down. So if you're in the US and you have 6.86, you're going to make $7.64 on this one unit. Okay, I think I've gone through all the countries. I think we're kind of ahead of what OAXRAY is doing. We're going to be active in the European countries in the next 4 to probably 8 weeks. Let's say we might open the first one. And from there, you should have all your VAT tax set up everything now, so that when everything gets set up, it's very easy for you to just start running with the program. And if you're in the UK and you don't have your VAT tax and everything set up, get that stuff set up now, and think about shipping things from the UK to the US. And if you're not in the US, think about getting a prep center ready to go in the US so that you can get those hard to find, hard to locate items from the US and get them sent over to the UK. And don't leave Canada out of the mix. The currency in Canada is a little weak compared to the United States, compared to the euro and the British pound. So we want to remember that the weakest currency is generally the one you want to buy in if you can overcome those shipping costs. So this has been another round of international arbitrage, OAXRAY. We're trying to get you prepared for the future and how to make some money outside of just the US market, or wherever market you're in. There's a bigger market out there. People are looking for things. And as we can see with this one product, depending on which market you choose, can depend on how much profit you make. Thank you very much. Have a great day and make money using OAXRAY.